Now that I have a box full of annealed dry brass, I will be using a full-length sizer die to reduce the size of those necks. This is a Lee 7mm-08 full-length sizing die. And if you've used one of these before, you know that it's going to take quite a bit of lube. So I'm going to use a lube pad with some RCBS case lube. And for the inside of the neck, I'll just use a Q-tip. Be very careful with where you put the lube and how much you use. If you use too much, you'll end up with dents in the shoulder. If you use too little, this will stick in there, possibly so badly that you have to send it back to Lee. I had to do that once. The inside, not quite so critical, but you want to make sure that you get enough lube, mostly on the upper side of the case. You want to make sure it gets on the neck, the shoulder. And so usually when I roll these, I apply a little extra pressure down here to make sure that the pad is going to touch everything in here. Here's the moment of truth. If you feel anything binding up, just back off. That one felt pretty good. And here is the result. Looks like this one came out just right. I don't see any dents in the shoulder. And it definitely didn't stick, so I got a good amount of lube on this one. You are looking at about 100 newly formed cases. These are not quite ready though. Resizing that 308 brass has left us with necks that are just a little bit too thick. I want this to be about 14 thousandths thick, and each of these is coming in at around 16. So we're going to have to do an outside turn of the neck. Also, these may be too long for our chamber, so we're going to have to trim these. I will be using this Forster handheld neck turner to reduce the thickness of my brass, and I have already adjusted this so I get the correct thickness. You can see it's a pretty simple matter of just spinning and pushing down to get rid of excess brass on the outside of this thing. One thing that you want to watch for when turning your brass is to make sure that you're not cutting into the shoulder, so you want to stop just a little bit short. This is the result of the neck turning. Now it's time to take a look at the case length. To verify a safe case length, I will be using this inexpensive Lee cutting tool and gauge. And I have it chucked up here into the drill. You can see that I have no engagement with the cutters right here, so this one is within spec. I'm just going to take this out of the drill. Well, I got pretty lucky with this box of once-fired brass. I didn't have to trim any of this. This was all within spec. So now just some optional extras. You can chamfer the inside of the case mouth to help bullets go in a little bit easier. You can deburr the outside corners here to keep anything from hanging up. And then what I like to do is throw this in the tumbler, clean it up to get rid of any little flecks of brass that might have gotten caught down inside the case. It also gets rid of any residue of the case lube on the outside. And then finally, what I like to do when it's all done is do a neck size on this, just to make sure that I get appropriate bullet tension. But aside from that, this is ready to go. And the neat thing is that once you've done all this work, this is done. This will last you a really long time. And like I mentioned before, if you keep annealing this brass will pretty much last forever. You don't ever need to do any of these steps ever again. Just neck size and keep on shooting. In the next video, I will load these cases using the optimal charge weight method. If you're accustomed to ladder loads, this isn't it. The bullets we're featuring are Hornady's brand new ELD match bullets, which by all accounts are better than the hype. Subscribe to get instant updates when new videos come out. Like the Social Regressive on Facebook to see extra material, and click the playlist button to view the ever-expanding playlist as we turn a Savage Axis into a long-range target gun.